A tech billionaire's mistress shoves his pregnant wife down marble courthouse steps in broad daylight, caught on dozens of cameras. What started as a divorce hearing became a national reckoning when her Navy SEAL brother stepped from the shadows and vowed to dismantle an empire built on lies. This is the story of how one moment of cruelty exposed a web of corruption that no amount of money could hide. Stay until the end, because justice has never looked quite like this. Drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. We love hearing your voices. The San Francisco federal courthouse gleamed under cold December sunlight. Reporters packed the entrance, their breath misting in winter air, waiting for the divorce hearing that had already made headlines. Tech mogul Marcus Holland's separation from his wife had become Silicon Valley's most talked about scandal. A silver Tesla pulled to the curb. The door opened slowly. Sophia Chen stepped out, one hand steadying herself against the car door, the other resting protectively on her belly. 8 months pregnant, she moved with careful grace, wearing a soft lavender maternity dress that caught the morning light. Her face was composed, the kind of calm that masks complete exhaustion. Cameras clicked as she walked toward the entrance, her footsteps echoing on marble. Behind the crowd, a red Porsche door slammed like a gunshot. Natasha Volkov emerged in a crimson designer suit, her stilettos sharp as weapons against stone. Younger, polished, confident. Every movement calculated for the cameras. Reporters recognized her instantly, the woman rumored to have destroyed the Holland marriage. She strode forward, her smile cold and precise. "Still playing the victim, Sophia?" Natasha's voice cut through the morning air, loud enough for nearby microphones to capture. Sophia stopped, her hand instinctively moving to her stomach. "Please." "Not here," but Natasha stepped closer, her perfume aggressive and expensive. "You lost him, accept it, and disappear." Sophia's breath caught. She tried to move past, but Natasha blocked her path. "You think that belly makes you untouchable," Natasha hissed. "You're pathetic." At the courthouse entrance above them, Marcus Holland appeared, tailored suit, designer sunglasses, expression unreadable. He watched both women but made no move toward either. His silence felt heavier than the crowd's whispers. Sophia's eyes found his, pleading for acknowledgement, protection, anything. Marcus didn't respond. He simply stood there, watching. Natasha saw his indifference and smiled wider. "See, even he doesn't want you." Sophia took another careful step up the stairs, gripping the railing. Her heels slipped slightly on cold marble. Then Natasha moved, sudden, vicious, deliberate. The shove came fast, aimed directly at Sophia's back. The gasp that followed was deafening. Sophia's eyes widened. Her bag tumbled from her hands, scattering papers across white stone. She stumbled backward, arms reaching for balance that wouldn't come. A scream tore through the crowd. "She's pregnant!" Cameras erupted in rapid bursts, capturing everything. The red suit, the lavender fabric twisting, the horror frozen on Sophia's face. She hit the stairs hard, her body rolling twice before stopping halfway down. The world tilted. Cold marble pressed against her cheek. Voices shouted. Sirens wailed somewhere distant. Her vision blurred at the edges, consciousness beginning to fade. Through the ringing in her ears, she heard Natasha's trembling voice. "I didn't mean to," she fell. Blood began to bloom across lavender fabric. Her hand trembled toward her stomach, whispering something no one could hear. Then a voice cut through the chaos, deep, commanding, fierce. "Move! Get out of the way!" A tall man in a dark jacket pushed through the wall of people, his eyes locked on the motionless woman in lavender. His name was Daniel Chen, former Navy SEAL, current federal prosecutor, and the woman bleeding on those steps was his sister. He dropped to his knees beside her. "Sophia, I'm here." Her eyelashes fluttered. Blood stained the soft fabric of her dress. Daniel pressed his fingers to her wrist, searching for a pulse. When he felt the faint rhythm beneath her skin, terror and relief collided inside him. "She's alive!" he shouted. "Someone get paramedics now." He turned slowly toward Natasha, his expression sharp enough to silence the crowd. "You kicked a pregnant woman down courthouse steps," he said quietly, Every word you say now will be recorded. Marcus finally moved, descending a few steps. It was an accident, he said coldly. She slipped. Liar, Daniel's jaw tightened. There are cameras everywhere. The truth is already recorded. A nearby officer pushed through. Make room for paramedics. Daniel pulled off his jacket, folding it under Sophia's head. Stay with me, he whispered. You're safe now. Above them, a red security light blinked steadily on the courthouse wall. That's the security feed, a reporter said. It caught everything. Daniel's gaze followed the blinking light. Good, he muttered. The truth stays alive even when she can't speak. Ambulance sirens grew louder. Paramedics rushed forward with stretchers and medical bags. I'm her brother, Daniel said. I'm coming with her. They lifted Sophia gently onto the stretcher. As the paramedics started down the steps, reporters shouted questions. Daniel ignored them all. He climbed into the ambulance, taking his place beside his sister. The doors slammed shut. The siren began to wail. Outside, Natasha's voice cracked as police stopped her. Ma'am, you'll need to make a statement. Marcus stood trapped in a storm of cameras and flashing lights. Daniel leaned over Sophia, holding her hand as the ambulance pulled into traffic. Hold on, he whispered. Just hold on. The next morning, Lowe's angels woke to the video. Every television, every phone, every screen showed the same 10 seconds. Sophia turning away, Natasha's violent shove, the sickening fall. The footage went viral instantly. Within hours, protests erupted outside the courthouse. Signs read, "Justice for Sophia and money can't buy innocence." Daniel held a press conference outside St. Catherine's Hospital, his voice steady but sharp. My sister is fighting for her life because of what happened on those steps. This was not an accident. This was violence committed in public under the eye of the law. I will personally represent my sister in all proceedings. We will pursue charges for assault, attempted murder, and every violation that follows. And in this country, no one, no matter how rich, is above the law. The cameras captured every word. Marcus tried to fight back. His PR team flooded media with counter-narratives. Sophia Chen had a history of instability. The incident was exaggerated. Mr. Holland was not involved. But Daniel countered each lie with evidence. Financial records showing payoffs, emails proving manipulation, witness statements confirming the truth. The public wasn't buying Marcus's story anymore. 3 months later, the courtroom was silent as Judge Patricia Morrison delivered the verdict. Natasha Volkov, you are found guilty of aggravated assault resulting in severe bodily harm. This court sentences you to 10 years in state prison. The gavel struck once. Natasha sobbed, her hands trembling. Please, I didn't mean to. Intent does not erase consequence, the judge said firmly. Marcus Holland, Judge Morrison continued, you are found guilty of obstruction of justice and conspiracy. You used your wealth to suppress evidence and manipulate public perception. You are sentenced to 12 years in federal prison with no possibility of parole for the first 8. The gavel struck again. Marcus's face went pale. This is insane, he whispered. No, Mr. Holland, the judge replied. You destroyed your own life. Officers approached with handcuffs. The cameras captured the moment metal clicked around his wrists. Daniel sat still at the plaintiff's table, his shoulders finally lowering as if a weight had lifted. Outside, protesters cheered. The sound of their voices rose like thunder. 1 year later, Sophia stood on those same courthouse steps, holding her daughter, Hope Chen, in her arms. The plaza was filled with supporters as she announced the opening of the Chen Foundation for Survivors. A year ago, I stood here with fear in my heart, Sophia said, her voice steady and strong. I thought everything was ending, but today I know that what I called an ending was really a beginning. She looked at the marble steps behind her. This place took everything from me. Now it gives something back. It reminds me that forgiveness isn't weakness, it's freedom. Applause rose through the crowd like a wave. Daniel stood beside her, his eyes glistening with pride. Sophia knelt and placed pale lavender flowers on the 5th step where she had fallen. This was where I fell, she said softly. So this is where I'll begin again. She rose, holding hope close. The child reached for the fading sunlight. Together they walked down the stairs, bathed in gold. The world had seen her fall. Now it would see her rise. If Sophia's story touched your heart, don't let it end here. Share this video with someone who needs to hear that justice is possible, that survival is real, that no one, no matter how powerful, can silence the truth forever. Comment below with a purple heart if you stand with survivors. Subscribe so you never miss stories that matter. And remember, your voice, your share, your support, it changes lives. Together we make sure no one fights alone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for believing that truth always wins.